Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to week 4, and I got to tell you something. You are in for a treat this week. This is fantastic. This is just a fantastic week. Some of the presentations, we got 3 presentations this week, and each one is just great. It's right here, 1, 2, and 3. Please go through these. I've looked at both of these twice, and I've been studying typography now for close to 25 years. So, I just got a lot out of it. I think it's a fantastic. I think they're fantastic. They're wonderfully written, wonderfully presented. They're very pertinent. There's no fluff in here. These are all business. So you guys really have a wonderful set of resources here. Let's take a look at presentation 1. Let me see. I've got 1, 2, and 3. There's 1. 1 is counterform continued. And this really teaches you and shows you how to determine and look at the space between letters and look at negative space as a whole. And instead of just looking at the letter, look at the shapes around the letter. And this really logically falls into type formatting and paragraph formatting. Now listen, as we know, and hopefully we know by now as designers, that symmetry is no good in design. Symmetry isn't good in design. It's boring. Think about this: front door, bush, bush, bigger tree, bigger tree. Okay, how boring is that? Instead of having like maybe some whiplash bushes over here and some grasses, and then the door, and then a tree, and I'm using landscaping to emphasize my point. But take a look at this. This is symmetry right here. This side right here, this is symmetry. And this is not, see how boring the negative space is? This is asymmetry. This is left aligned, right rag. So look how much more beautiful that is on the left than the right. And that is my little demonstration of symmetry in design. It's just, it's not a good thing. Like when you think about the difference between a really nicely formatted typographic piece and something like a wedding invitation, which is typically center aligned and typically really formal but really boring. So think about that, okay? And then you just go through these. There's this wonderful presentation. That's number 1. And then this is 2 and 3 are just phenomenal. That's number 1 right here, counterform continue. Let's go to presentation 2, which is right here, typographic and paragraph formatting. Listen, guys, this is great. This is really one of the best. This is jam-packed with information, and it's all I went through every one of these. I've gone through each one of these presentations twice. I've been studying typography for 25 years, and I think this is one of the best presentations I've seen. Everything in here counts. And it's all, this is great. This is just great. Please use this. Some of the more important things here, this is, of course, curly quotes and smart quotes. This is really super relevant, and not everybody does this. So this really shows, especially in your typographic portfolio, your portfolio, this will show an employer you understand typography. It's called hanging quotes. And I highly recommend, these things aren't, go through these and research these. Don't just read them, research, get into InDesign, figure out how to do this. Because this is going to take your typography to the next level. I guarantee you. I'm telling you the truth. Employers they're so excited. I know when I see good typography in a portfolio, I'm like, okay, guys, it's time for a second interview. When I'm talking to my designers and we're looking at hiring in somebody new and looking at the portfolio, reviewing the portfolio, seeing fantastic typography, we're going, okay, let's schedule another interview immediately. It's that important and it's that simple. It's just great typography is going to get you to the next level 10 times out of 10, guys. Okay, and these are all fantastic tips and tidbits. Orphans and widows, hyphens, M dashes, N dashes. If you show a number span in your portfolio and use a regular dash or a hyphen, it's no good. You'll get shot down. If you in your portfolio show a number span and use an N dash in between those numbers, the portfolio reviewer or the potential employer is going to take you to the next level. I promise you. Okay, so and then read through this, and like I said, none of this is any good unless you figure out how to do it. So let's get in there, get into InDesign, get into looking up some resources on the web, and let's get into your textbook and really start figuring out how to do all things. I love to see this stuff employed in your work from here on in. All right, enough on that. Let's move to presentation 3. Where did that go? Here it is. This is the interaction of words with pictures. Now again, This is just phenomenal stuff. This is a great lecture. You got a video in here. Please view it. It's wonderful. It explains this thing, just really shows you how the designer designed this. And you'll learn from it, I promise. There's another one. This is fantastic right here. They go through this in the video too. This is just wonderful. They dissect this and tell you exactly the intent and where the ideas came behind this. And you can use this in your assignment. Use what you've learned here in the assignment for this week. So really, really good, cool stuff. Read it, read it, read it, please. Let's go take a look at the assignment. So the assignment is type an image, and this is a good one, guys. You're gonna have a blast with this. So let's take a look at the preview for that type an image. And while that's loading up, I just want to say that I've got my announcements up. You know, everything in there, that the schedule for this week. A couple of people missed deadline for post, for discussion board post last Wednesday. So I kind of took it easy because you guys have been really awesome as a group of getting stuff in on time. So I kind of took it easy, but let's get those in this week, guys. Let's follow that those deadlines. Okay, they're in there. They're in the announcement. They're listed in red. You can't miss them. Okay. Now week 4, assignment 4, part 1. Type and image relationships, design and everyday life. Okay, so the instructions are this. So here's the deal. Design, this week's assignment, you're going to design a poster that addresses the general theme, design in everyday life. So that would be your headline, so to speak. Now, think of hierarchy. And to begin, and don't forget hierarchy, letting, kerning, everything we've learned so far is culminating into this assignment. Okay, so you have design in everyday life. To begin, you must select a designed object. It could be a product or anything. Artifact in your everyday life, something that has been a kind of an impact, either profound or subtle, in your general existence. Okay, so you pick something. And I'm going to use the blender in this, okay? Because blender is pertinent to me because my wife is a chef and a baker, and we've talked about blenders, and I remember it's something that means something to me. So I'm going to use the blender as a result, okay? So your second object will be the dominant image. So in mine, I'm going to choose a blender. I'm going to make it big, okay? And then it says, and then you don't necessarily need to see all of it to communicate what it is, okay? So you don't have to show the blender. I don't have to show the blender as the whole blender. I can show it crop or bleeding off the poster. So then the poster must include an image of the object in use. Take a picture of someone using it. So I'm thinking, okay, I got a blender. Okay, I got somebody holding the side of the blender and an image of somebody holding the side of the blender and then holding the top of the blender. And it's a close-up and it's just the hands cupping the blender and it's bleeding off the page, okay? So then your poster must include an image of final results. So over on the side of the ad, I'm gonna have a cake. All right, so we have the blender bleeding off the thing, big giant blender with hands, and then we have a cake on the side. Then the result, that would be the cake. Okay, so we have the object in use, and then the end result, which would be my cake. Okay, and then the poster must include 2 components. Okay, so imagine this right here, this square as my composition. Here's my big blender over here, bleeding off the page, a hand on the top, hand over here, and then here's my cake over here. Okay, and then maybe up here, I'm gonna have the actual blade of the blender, just the blade, just completely masked out in Photoshop. No background, no square, no frame, nothing around it, just floating the blade, and maybe the dial. So we'll make this connection between the blade and the dial. So the dial is associated as close with the blade, so we make that visual connection. Okay, so we have blender with the hands, then the cake, then we have the blade and the dial. All right, then I'm going to put my headline over here. It's going to say design in everyday life, and over here I'm going to have a little paragraph that states why the blender is something that's significant to me in everyday life. And that would be my poster. And don't forget, we go through some of those presentations back there that I just showed. And you can use stuff like this. I mean, I think this is one of in the video up here, the author goes through how this was really, how the designer went through this whole thing. And it is fascinating. It's really fascinating how the designer picked out elements out of the image to use and to dictate the layout and the composition. It's really fascinating. I was thinking you guys can use that in your, like, okay, in my Blender example, I could use that and really use parts of the blade to maybe, or parts of the Blender itself to maybe dictate the width of the type columns. Do you see what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Be sure to take a look at that video because that will explain a lot of what I'm talking about. So then we have that, part one, part two. Everything else is the same. We got our critique and our discussion board. Okay, so that's what I got. If you have any questions, again, this is a really, really, really good week, guys. These presentations are fantastic. Please don't skip them. It's important to me, guys. It really is that this stuff makes sense to you. So if it does, if you need any help at all, please let me know, and I'll be more than glad to make a little demonstration or something to get you to understand these principles and all of the things that are being presented in these three presentations. Okay. Or conversely, as I was saying, if you can figure out how to get in there into InDesign and really figure out how these things are done, okay, and if you can't, let me know and I can assist you from there. Okay, so don't forget in the final the presentation this week, don't forget to use your grid. Now, don't forget to use your grid. That's important. Remember, we learned all about grid last week. Let's use it, guys. Let's use it. All right. Awesome. I will see you guys this week in discussion. Any questions, comments, concerns, I'm right here. All right. Thanks, guys.